this off. Don't need this when I'm outside. But yeah, when I'm inside, I just went into a little store in this little town I'm staying in. It's called Saguache in Colorado. It's in the San Luis Valley. And I've been working here for the last few days, actually working just outside of Saguache, but this is where we're staying. And I'm kind of sweaty. It's really hot. And I just took a shower, so I don't have any makeup on or anything. And anyway, I just went into this little organic market here and got one of these hemp ice creams. These are so good. A guy that I used to know, and I say I used to know him because I haven't seen him in about 15 years, but he's the owner of this company, the creator of this hemp ice cream, and he used to be based in Boulder, the Boulder area. I'm not sure if he's still there or not, but it's kind of hard to find these things. Usually I get them when I go up to this hot spring near Buena Vista. It's called Cottonwood Hot Springs, and they sell them there, and that's actually where I met the guy, Dale, and yeah, it's really, really good stuff and a very special treat. For one thing, it's a lot of calories, so good thing I don't have access to them all the time because, yeah, they're very tempting, really, really good, totally vegan, made with hemp milk. It's like an ice cream sandwich. I got the mint flavor, mocha mint. They have jasmine and vanilla and chocolate. And it has hemp seed flour, rolled oats, millet flour, turbinado sugar, non-dairy chocolate chips, sunflower seeds, and all the usual baking stuff, baking soda, vanilla, sea salt, etc., and hemp seeds. So it's really good stuff if you can get your hands on one of these, probably only in Colorado. I highly recommend them. So I am just gonna eat one of these as a little snack, treat myself since I found them here, and all I had for lunch today was some leftover kale salad from last night's dinner. The cookie part's a little bit crumbly, but so good. It's just got a lot of flavor. And just the tiniest bit of crunch from the hemp seeds. I mean, there's actual like little hemp seeds in there. So anyway, this is such a cute little town. It's a little historical town. And right now I'm sitting in this little park that has like a little interpretive sign about Saguache and some pictures. And this little park is named after one of the citizens or something. And there's a little really old building right behind me. There's all these really old derelict cabins dotted all over the town. It's really interesting, and there's a lot of art studios and just like funky things. So there's obviously a lot of artists living here. I'm not sure what the population is. It might be like 2,000, maybe, probably not even that much. So good. Now you can see the Saguache Hotel behind me. It's interesting because some of the pictures on that interpretive sign have that same hotel, and it looks exactly the same. Only the pictures are from like 1913 or something. I've been pretty fortunate this year, despite COVID, that I've been able to work pretty steadily. I did have the last 3 weeks off, unemployed, and then I was offered this job, which is just a short little job, 5 days, which is really, really short for a survey project. And it's been really nice because I've gotten used to working like 10, even to 12-hour days, walking, you know, as many as like 13, 14 miles in a day, and it's really intense and really exhausting. The last project I did was in Utah, and that's how it was. It was typically 10-hour days, walking anywhere between 6 and 12 miles a day. But the last like 2 or 3 days of that, we were working 12 hours, and I think the most miles I clocked was 13 miles, and I had blisters on my feet. My boots were wearing out, so they were giving me some really bad blisters. But we did end up finishing it about 3 days early, so I got to go home early. But this project has been really nice because it's just been like 8-hour days. 2 hours of that is travel time, and it has been really hot, but we've found lots of stuff, so it makes it interesting. Then we come back to the hotel. We get back by about 3 o'clock, and I have the rest of the afternoon to do whatever I want. Of course, it has been really hot, so I don't really want to spend a lot of time outside because I've been outside all day, but it is nice to sit here in this little shady park in this sweet little town. And a lot of companies have had delays in their contracts, so I think in some ways archaeological work has been a little bit sparse this year, but there seems to be plenty of work out there. It's just that you know, there's certain conditions that have to be met in order to be compliant with all the COVID requirements and stuff. In general, we haven't really had to wear masks around each other because we're working in a tight-knit group, and we make sure, you know, everybody's healthy before we start work. And but we have been wearing masks when we are traveling in the car together. For the most part, I've been able to drive my own car out to the site, but that means it gets really dirty because we're driving down dusty dirt roads. But at least I don't have to wear a mask when I'm in my car by myself. It's really pretty hard. I mean, I've been really compliant with wearing a mask. I'm fine with that, but on hot days, it's hard to wear a mask. But I'm not here to talk about that. I'm not gonna talk about that anymore. But I will share with you, you know, what I've been eating while I'm in the field. This time I brought way too much food with me because I'm used to, when I go out in the field, being gone for 8 or 9 days at least. The last project I was on in Utah, it was 2 weeks, and you know, we were in a little dinky town, even smaller than this town, where there just wasn't much as far as like groceries, really vegan groceries specifically. And so I just made sure I brought a lot of food with me. But this time the project was only 5 days, and I way overpacked the food, especially because I had tons and tons of greens growing in my garden that I needed to pick, and I knew if I left them at home, my boyfriend wouldn't eat them. My son's not there. It's just Jack, and he really doesn't prepare vegetables for himself. So I brought everything with me, and I've been trying to eat as many greens as possible, but there's a lot, so I will be taking some home. As far as archaeology goes, we have found a lot of stuff out there. We are doing survey. It's a BLM project. They are cutting out some trees because it's like cattle grazing land, and so they're trying to like kind of bring some of the grasses back, I guess. So they're getting rid of some of the trees, and just like any other kind of government project, you have to go out there and do an archaeological survey. And we have found a lot of historical trash scatters, so bottles and cans and stove parts, things like that. And we've also found some prehistoric like stone chipping sites mainly, not a lot of tools, mainly just what we call debitage, which is all the chips of stone that come off when somebody is making a tool or a projectile point. We did find 2 projectile points on one day. Another girl found one, and then later that day I found another one, which really made me happy because I personally have not found that many in my archaeology career. A lot of the ones that I found had actually previously been recorded, so technically somebody else found it. But this year I've found 3 on my own that I know probably nobody else had seen for hundreds of years, so that was pretty cool. It has been a challenging summer as far as my career goes. I was doing that monitoring job. If you saw my last vlog, my spring archaeology vlog, I talked about that job, which was extremely boring. I was basically just sitting in my car all the time. And then right after I finished that job, I was working down in Trinidad, which I love that area, but it was really intense. It was hiking up and down mountains all day long. You know, I love being in the forest, and it was beautiful, and we were finding lots of cool stuff. But it was very, very challenging, especially after being so sedentary all winter, and then all of a sudden I'm climbing up mountains.
Yeah, that's Fisher's Peak.
And then we went to Utah, and that was also very, very challenging. It was 2 weeks of work straight with only 1 day off in between. And like I said, we were working long hours and hiking lots of miles, and it was really hot. And we were in Utah in a little dinky town. There wasn't a lot to do, and we weren't finding a whole lot. I mean, we did find some stuff, but not a lot, and it was just challenging in so many ways that I really started to question whether I wanted to do this kind of work anymore. I mean, it's always been challenging having to leave my home for long periods of time to do work, and it is long days, and it is hard work sometimes, and a lot of the times it is really hot, or you're working in adverse weather conditions. Sometimes last year I had one day that we had rain and sleet and snow all in the same day, and then we were camping on top of that, and then I ended up injuring myself. So yeah, it's full of challenges. You're always having to be worried about things like snakes and bears, or, you know, sliding down a rocky slope, or, you know, twisting your ankle in the middle of nowhere, and just being away from home, being away from my family. But I do love archaeology. It's really exciting when we find cool stuff, and I love history. I love prehistory. It's just all really fascinating to me, and I do like being outdoors and getting exercise and basically being paid to hike and look for cool stuff. And the pay is decent, although it is hard to stay employed sometimes. Yeah, if you're thinking about a career in archaeology, those are things that you probably want to think about, because most people who go to school for archaeology end up doing CRM, which is what I'm doing. It's cultural resource management. The majority of it is survey, which is walking back and forth across large areas, and some of it is excavation, and sometimes that's really fun. Like the project I worked on last year was really exciting, but very, very, very hard work, and my hands are still recovering from that. But yeah, that's basically what we do. And then some people are in a position where they end up doing a lot of paperwork, usually over the winter. That's not the most exciting part. It can be fun if it involves some interesting research, but for the most part, report writing and filling out forms and things like that is not very exciting. So the motel we're staying at is this little motel that's right on the highway. And you know, this is just one of those sleepy little towns that when you're going from one place to another, you pass through and you don't think much of it. All you really see is there's like one motel and a couple of gas stations, and you might stop and go to the bathroom, but that's about it. But if you get off the main highway and onto the main street, the historical district, it is really cute. So our motel is very quaint. It does have a little kitchenette, which was good. I brought my air fryer like I always do. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know it was going to have a kitchenette. Usually there's just a microwave and a refrigerator. So I was really pleased to see that there was an actual kitchen that I could cook in and wash my dishes, because it's hard to wash your dishes in a bathroom sink of a hotel. And it's only like, you know, a couple blocks away from the downtown, so I've been walking around in the evening when it's cool, and it's just such a sleepy little town. Hardly anybody's out, and I can kind of like, you know, wander around undisturbed. But yeah, I've been enjoying cooking in my kitchen, and right out the kitchen window is one of those funky little cabins I've been talking about. So let me show you what I am making for my meals. This is my final dinner. I did decide to make some sweet potato fries in my air fryer, because if you know me, you know I love my air fryer and I bring it with me in the field all the time now. It's great. So I've got a little bit of ketchup for that and some hummus. I love to dip those in hummus. And I'm also going to dip some fresh veggies in the hummus. That's the last pea from my garden. And the greens are also from my garden. It's butter lettuce and arugula and a little bit of green onion on there, and this looks super yummy and I'm starving, so I'm gonna eat now. Bye! There's all these little elf houses around this town. They're so cute. This one looks like it's a miner's house. They've been mining for gold.